Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, Anita Finley.
Administrator at Boomer Times, and his name is Dan Verity, and he is the background guy. He gets everything together, and we have a book of the month that's called How to Overcome Once Easy Tasks That Are Now Pains in the You-Know-What, and there are over 200 solutions to everyday problems of boomers, seniors, widows, and widowers, and caregivers. And the situation is that the author, Heather Latimer, lives in England, and she's an elder lady, and she really didn't want to come on the radio. So she said, would you read some excerpts from my book? I said, sure. And then I'm talking to Dan, who has a great voice and a great mind, and I said, why don't you share this with me? He said, okay. So here he is in the studio at 5 o'clock this morning, and we are going to read some of these great little short articles. That's the whole point, that what makes this book so good, and they're just strange titles. I just have to read a few of these titles because it's magnificent. And actually, I ought to talk a little bit about, let me just see here. I wanted to tell you a little bit about her. She's a woman who has been writing about she's been writing about Funk and Wagner's. She's done lots and lots of things, and I'll just do a brief biography here. Heather Latimer is the author of 17 books and thousands of articles in national magazines. Her career began at Fleet Street, London, continued on Madison Avenue, New York, and progressed to Las Vegas, Nevada. Miss Latimer is a British-born bon vivant, and she merrily roved in small villages, huge cities, and countries all over the world, where she's mingled with men and women of all nationalities, orientations, and ages. Rich and poor, rogues and royals. Naturally, these adventures have given her a deep understanding of people's concerns, wishes, choices in the USA, as well as distant nations and in all classes of society. So, okay, Dan, why don't you read a little bit more about her?
Okay. It's good to be here. She has been recognized as the specialist in making difficult subjects easy ever since she was national TV and radio spokesperson for Funk and Wagnall's Encyclopedia and hostess of Heather Latimer Reviews on WPIX in New York. With regard to her Difficult Subjects Made Easy series and Solving the Challenges of Aging series, she possesses the unique ability to present sound advice and essential information with illustrative stories and a touch of humor that makes her suggestions fun to read and easy to understand, absorb, and put into practice.
And of course, it was very hard for Dan and for me to decide which of these 200 short little tidbits we were going to do.
Yeah.
Well, but yesterday we had a handyman in our home because we've had some light bulb problems. The lights haven't been strong enough. And the handyman came and said, well, you bought the wrong bulbs. And what do you know? One of the particular articles that she wrote was buying new light bulbs. Now, who would ever want to read about that? I wish I read about it before we bought the bulbs, but I'll read this one. Once we merely looked for a light bulb that was the same wattage as the one that was burned out. Now, with a confusing array of numbers on packages, we don't know which to buy as a replacement. Failing having someone knowledgeable to explain the degree of brightness, which is talked about in the words lumens, length of life, amount of energy used, and other factors, here are the simplest numbers to guide you. If you need a 100-watt bulb, look for one with 1,600 lumens. A 75-watt, 1,100 lumens, 60-watt, 800 lumens, and 40-watt, 50 lumens. Now, you won't remember that. That's why you have to buy this book. Okay, Dan, so what do you have?
I have, one of the first ones I have is, Are You Making an Ugly Face and No One Tells You? A minister's wife was prominently seated on the stage whilst her husband intoned a tribute to the man of the year. All the time she was making grotesque grimaces, and at first I thought she was expressing distaste for the holy man's outpourings. Then it dawned on me that she was fidgeting her dentures. If you tend to do this without realizing it, perform in front of a mirror. maybe you'll decide to buy a dental fixative or visit the dentist for a relining.
I mean, you have seen people do that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, now we live in a condominium. We haven't always lived in one, and so consequently we've had to rearrange our life. But when you go to the grocery store and you live in a condominium and you park on the 3rd floor, the 5th floor, let me tell you, you need something that she wrote about. You need a grocery cart. And she said the title of this little article is Tired of Toting Groceries? Making multiple trips to schlep grocery bags to the car or upstairs to the door of your home is always a struggle. Your arms react as if they're being pulled from their sockets. Wrists feel strained, and even fingers can cramp in protest. Worse yet, several bags slipping about can cause a loss of balance and a painful fall. Here's help. A grocery bag holder that keeps together the bundles of several bags can ease loading and unloading. Purchasers of this particular product swear it's sturdier and more efficient than anything similar on the market. It's the invention of the young owner of Ball's Food Store, a Kansas City family-owned shop established in 1923. Pictures, details, and a shopping cart are accessible on Amazon.com. Listen, now I almost buy too many groceries for my one cart. And I saw someone had a much larger cart. Apparently they're for sale at Publix. That's
yes,
my contribution. Oh, you know that.
Yeah, they are.
Do you use one too?
I don't, and I probably should, because now that I live on the 3rd floor of an apartment building, that's
and
a
you
walk
don't
up.
even have an elevator.
No,
oh
I don't have
God.
an elevator, and so I really should get myself
See?
a cart.
So she had a good hint. So
Yeah, absolutely.
What's yours now?
These are all great hints. This one I saw yesterday, which is amazing, especially if you have pets or walk around your house with bare feet. Picking up broken glass from the floor. Cover slivers with slices of bread. Press down on them with the sole of your shoe. Then carefully pick up the bread with glass embedded and throw into the trash bin.
It is amazing, isn't it?
Simple.
I know.
It's perfect.
And I was just telling you, we just broke a crystal glass, and they shatter in a million pieces. And of course, our Snowy has to come see what's done. Yeah. And of course, I just had put her up on the bed and all. But that's one of the best ones, the one that you said. So that's it. Okay. So now we're going to talk about, there's some serious things that she does. Mm-hmm. I'd have to do this one. Has anyone ever tried to fold a fitted sheet? You can't do it.
It's impossible.
And you want it to be neat, and you put it around. And so she says, I mean, this is the craziest little book, because here we went from a grocery cart to a fitted sheet and to picking up glass. You've got to buy the book. Let me tell you the book's name again is How to Overcome Once Easy Tasks That Are Now Pains in the You-Know-What. Over 200 solutions to everyday problems of boomers, seniors, widows, widowers, caregivers. And the author's name is Heather Latimer. She's a specialist in making difficult subjects easy. The publication is by Books by Letterbox and Letterbox of London, USA. This is the third, this is larger. She had a third edition, and I guess it says it's larger. Oh, maybe she had one before. Maybe the print's just larger. I'm not sure what that really means, but let me just tell you the way that you can get this, because it's only $12.95. The way that you can get this is just going over to Amazon.com. So you say Amazon.com, and then you just put that in. But let me talk about the folding fitted bottom sheet. Hope you're listening. We may have lived a long time, but apparently some things baffle us forever. Several women have laughingly confessed they cannot fold a fitted sheet, so it does not billow out beyond the shelf in the linen cupboard. Oh, I love a cupboard. I would say closet, but that's English.
Right.
As for myself, I learned in the strangest place. I was engaged for a special assignment to visit, I can't say it, Fanat Nakim refugee camp in Southeast Asia in order to write a fact-finding report for a doctor from the National Institutes of Health. The name was Earl Hayek. Forlorn refugees aimlessly strolled about in a shabby, primitive, and unclean open-air compound. Beyond were shacks with fake rooms built into them. Each was fully equipped to teach inmates how to earn a living if they ever arrived in a land of plenty. In the mock McDonald's, boys were taught to cook hamburgers and French fries. In homes furnished with outdated appliances, girls were trained to answer telephones, stock refrigerators, and vacuum carpets. Boy, I could use one of those right now. When it came to laundry, the Asian instructor took a fitted sheet out of the dryer while it was slightly damp and laid it on the bed facing upward. She indicated the diagonal seams that formed each of the elasticized corners and used her hands to flatten and smooth all four of them. Thereafter, she smoothed the entire length of the narrowest sides, plus the narrow top and bottom of the sheet. See, she made it, I could see, into something that was flat.
Yeah.
Folded all of these inward about 10 inches in line with the binding on the corners, grasped the fold at the bottom of the sheet, and took it upward to meet the middle of the sheet. Took the fold at the top and pulled it downward to also meet in the middle of the sheet. Folded the sheet in half in the place where the bottom met the top, folded it in half from side to side, folded in half again and again until it was the same size as the already finished matching top sheet. Now, you know, Dan, this would be perfect on the YouTube because I had, when we bought a comforter, I didn't quite know how to get the duvet cover on. And I had to go to YouTube, and I got to see it. So this is what we need to do. Maybe you know what we're going to do. You can figure it out, and then we'll bring a camera in there and put it on YouTube.
Okay.
Okay, your turn.
That sounds terrific. This is something that's another very important one. It's called losing things. At any age, we mislay letters, car keys, and eyeglasses. Psychologists believe it takes 2 seconds to record an action in your memory. And if you automatically set something down without registering it, you'll probably forget. When multitasking and blithely performing several tasks at the same time, it's likely that not all of those details will reach their destination in your brain. Luckily, there are a few effective methods to forestall the constant hunting around to retrieve these belongings. A, keys. At the moment of placing them, look at them and tell yourself, I'm putting keys here on the coffee table or wherever. B, eyeglasses. That's a big one for me. Attach them to a lanyard worn around your neck. There's no reason to think this reveals forgetful old age. Librarians and curators of museums wear them. C, correspondence. Obtain a wire or plastic crate from Office Max to accommodate letter-sized papers, approximately 10 inches by 12 inches by 10 inches, and put all current papers in it. When you need one of them, you'll be obliged to rifle through the contents, but it's easier than searching through every nook and cranny in the whole house. Artistic people who abhor organized filing use this method. It's called random filing. D, in large premises, establish 2 spots for frequently used items and always return them to one of those places. That's a pet peeve of mine. If you pick something up from one place, make sure you put it back, and that way you'll know where it is next time you need it.
Bill and I are highly organized that way, and now we have a guest at our home, and I went to do something, couldn't find the scissors. And she put the scissors in a place where she knew.
Right.
It's the same kind of thing you said. You know, now, and I also want to say that even though some of these are funny and they're interesting, there's some very serious ones. I like this one. Packing for the emergency room. We know that if it's an emergency, you just rush out, right? And then you have to put everything in there first, or a friend of yours has to go back to your house and bring everything to you. So why don't you try this? Establish a grab-and-go backpack filled with items you'll need should you be whisked away after a 911 call. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but inevitably it probably will. Because hospitals are notorious for confining patients in ice-cold rooms, include a bed jacket or small blanket. Also, unless you're specifically forbidden to consume anything due to upcoming tests, take something to nibble. Include reading material, too, if you wish. Of course, Boomer Times. Get a copy of Boomer Times. Attach to the backpack a list of items that couldn't be stored in advance. Medical insurance cards, ID, list of medications, eye drops, and other over-the-counter remedies because hospitals do not fill these. Forget about prescribed medications because they insist on having their own doctor provide these. Carry no more than $5, but leave at home your wallet, watch, jewelry, and other valuables. That's really a very good one, isn't it?
It is a very good one.
Okay, what do you have?
I was going to read Quieting Nighttime Cough, but I'm going to leave that for you because I know you have some, right? You have some interesting, you said you've tried that one.
Oh, I have. I love, are you letting me do that one?
Yeah, I'm going to let you do that one.
I think I actually mentioned to Dr. Mencia once.
You did?
Yeah, so we'll do it again.
And it's in Heather Latimer's book. But I'm going to read Ice and Heat for Pain. And this is good because we're always confused. Do we use ice or do we use heat? Ice reduces swelling and inflammation and numbs the painful area. Heat increases circulation and promotes healing. A doctor may recommend the use of one or the other or order you to start by applying ice for a few days, followed by a period of heat therapy. There are several options. A hot water bottle is fine, but stays warm for only about 20 minutes, whereas an electric pad maintains a steady dry heat level for as long as switched on. Immersion in a bathtub or spa produces moist heat. So does a hot towel. A whirlpool jet directed at a painful spot temporarily relieves discomfort. The desired effect is for heat or ice to penetrate the injured area but not burn the skin. For that reason, it's essential to slip several thicknesses of a towel between the source and your skin. 20 minutes at a time is the maximum for each application of heat or ice. Several applications may be made in one day, but continuous treatment must be avoided. It adversely affects circulation. Because there are instances where heat and cold should not be used, always consult a medical professional before commencing this or any other self-treatment. Great advice.
Yeah, it really
Great
is.
advice.
So this is mine?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Now listen, this sounds weird, and you think it's an old wives' tale, but I do it. And it is absolutely wonderful. And she had it in here, and I didn't know that. It's called Quieting Nighttime Cough. I actually do it if I just start to get a cold, not even wait for a cough. Canadians are gung-ho about this remedy. To quiet your grandchild's nighttime cough, you mean our nighttime cough too, rub Vicks Vapor Rub on the soles of your or his or her feet and cover them with socks. The smoothing warmth induces sleep and often relieves an annoying cough until morning. But she says it doesn't work in the daytime. And let me tell you something. She does a lot of little quotes. This is cute. A pessimist sees difficulty in opportunity. An optimist sees opportunity in difficulty. And guess who? Her favorite person is Winston Churchill. Yeah. Okay, Dan, keep it going.
Great. Forgetting names. Long ago, Dale Carnegie gave advice for greeting a person whose name you should have remembered. He suggests you say, "What is your name again?" Then, when she gives it, say, "I know that one. I meant the other one." The name remains much longer if you listen carefully, perhaps how it's spelled. Use it in the very next sentence or connect it to something familiar, a city, a game, anything, and then write it down.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Yep. Now, I don't know if you've ever fallen out of bed. Do you know that I actually fell out of bed probably 3 months ago, and I had a little bruise. I was lucky I didn't hit my hip, and I think it's because mattresses move.
They do.
So this one's called, just 5 lines, Prevent Falling Out of Bed. Obtain 2 lengthy pool noodles and place one on each side of your bed. Even when you turn in your sleep, the mere feel of these creepy feeling sponges will warn you to keep your distance and save you from landing on the floor. Now that's funny. I can see.
Pool noodles are not for pools anymore.
And you know what's funny? I think we have a book coming up that it's all about the noodle world. And these are older people that all go with their little noodles to the pool. I hope you get that
kidding.
book. Yeah, it's true. I don't have one in my house, but it's something to think about.
Yeah, you can get them at a dollar store.
Right,
or
pool noodles.
Everywhere.
Okay, so
That's great.
You have something? Because we have probably another 5 minutes or less.
All righty, let's see. We've got remembering a string of trivial tasks. You doubtless have several things you must do before going to bed. Later, when you're all snug and toasty between the sheets, you realize you've forgotten something. For instance, you might need to lock doors, turn off patio light, fill a glass with water and take a pill, turn off the TV, change the thermostat setting, You're less likely to overlook any of these chores if you always do everything in the same sequence. Due to repetition, your subconscious mind will take charge and you'll experience a sense of loss should you leave something out. That will signal you to correct the omission before heading for the bedroom. Some people make it easier to remember any list of jobs by performing them in alphabetical order or arranging them to spell a word. That's pretty good.
Yeah, she really, isn't she something?
Yeah,
I can't,
it's
I'd love
very
for to
insightful.
meet her. I know, having all these, I mean, when I first saw the book, I said, I don't know about this. And I got into it and I said, we have to have this book. This is great.
It's wonderful.
It is. Okay, so this is called Marriage. Don't even dream about marrying. It's not likely to happen, especially if he has children and or a goodly amount of money. Or she is reluctant if her late husband's pension, alimony, or other income will be reduced and her children deprived of their inheritances. Once the alternative was called living in sin. Now this modern custom is totally accepted, particularly in communities for over 55s.
Huh.
Isn't that true? And it's true. And older people who would have definitely said, she's living in sin, they're all doing it.
Yeah, right.
So that's good.
Well, she has a quote here from Abraham Lincoln. We can complain because rose bushes have thorns, or rejoice because thorn bushes have roses.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
Okay. Now, Bill's daughter's in town, and she is single, and she rents places, and now she's renting a home with 3 men, and she lives there. So each have their own bedroom. One uses a porch room, I think, and each has their own, responsibility. And I just wanted to read this: sharing a home, because this really applies to older people, very much so.
Yeah.
She used to live with an elder man and then take care of some of the responsibilities. But this is called, it is probably our last one that all we have time for. Sharing a home, even though financial advantages are great, giving up your home and moving in with another senior could have serious consequences. Should you own the house and the two of you become incompatible, you'll run into serious difficulties if the other resents moving out. If you're the co-tenant, you may lose your living quarters if he or she sells the property in order to transfer to an assisted living facility or nursing home. Now, even though she said this, I think sharing a home sometimes for older people, is very nice. And so you have to maybe have your boomer child or someone, a lawyer, someone understand what's happening and maybe make the arrangements.
Right. Yeah. It's financially it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Plus it's I think it's good to have somebody keeping an eye on you too.
That's
you can look at each other.
Exactly.
After each other.
Yes, I do believe in this a lot. Well,
Yeah.
Dan Verity, you've been a virgin on this show. You
I
haven't
have.
done this
Not
yet, but we
anymore.
may have to bring you back again. But everyone,
enjoyed
please
it.
do buy this book. I think you're going to love it. There are 200 of these, and so many of them are so perfect for all of us. So just go to Amazon.com. The name of the book is How to Overcome Once Easy Tasks That Are Now Pains in the You-Know-What. And there are over 200 solutions to everyday problems of boomers, seniors, widows, widowers, and caregivers. And her name is Heather Latimer. Hi, Heather. I know you'll be hearing this on YouTube. You're a specialist in making difficult subjects easy. So whenever I have a problem, or Dan has, we're going to call you and say, okay, Heather, what should we do? Thank you. We'll be right back with our next show.
Thanks.